It was a record amount of snow that hammered down from December 4th to 8th of 2010, affecting much of southwestern Ontario. A total of 177 centimeters of snow fell in a very short period of time. Hi, I'm Chris May. Right through December 22nd, we're sponsored by Tourism Ireland. The world's longest coastal touring route is waiting for you. It's time to press the green button. Plan your trip to Ireland today. At the time, local radio stations were announcing the storm, like I said, as a Snowmageddon. It was cute and easy, but really does no one any good. What needed to be top of every read was that Lucan Biddulph was beat down. It happened this day in weather history. For anyone who's watched me on television on the Weather Network for the better part of the last 15 years, you'll know that I'm not a fan of cute colloquialisms. I find them to be low-hanging fruit and clickbait. So forgive me when I am forced to remind you that the system we're talking about today, at the time, was called Snowmageddon. I know, original, right? But what do you do when you are under 5.5 feet of snow? Because that's what 177 centimeters is. You are functionally paralyzed as a community. But Armageddon? Really? Did this result in the end of times? Did armies fight for the souls of all humans? Come on. This was instead, actually, a textbook lake effect storm where cool December air passed over the, at the time, much warmer Lake Huron water temps. Seriously, this happens a lot every year, and this collision of dynamics will equal heavy snow every time. But what made this storm as impactful and record-breaking as it was can be blamed on a blocking mechanism in the atmosphere present at the time. It effectively held this moisture-laden low stationed over an area where it just kept on producing the same effect day after day after day after day for 5 days. You're listening to This Day in Weather History. I just got back just at the end of November from Ireland and had an opportunity to step back in time 5,200 years at Newgrange. This is where I will be dedicating the December 21st edition of this podcast. Remember to check that out. The township of Lucan Biddulph is small. It has a population of only 4,700, so you can imagine what a storm of this magnitude would have done to a focused area like this. The township was actually formed relatively recently when on January 1st of 1999, the village of Lucan amalgamated with Biddulph Township in Middlesex County, which is also the home of the much larger City of London, Ontario. So for this reason, we are going to hear numbers from a few different locations reporting on the events of this day in weather history. As an example, Joanne Latta, who was a receptionist at the township office, commented that they had at least 4 snowplows going nearly non-stop on the village and township roads since the snow began falling, and it kept it up for days on end. Another resident, Ms. Tracy Smith, was out shoveling her driveway, but in the background, it was clearly visible that the snow was halfway up the height of her house. That was obviously the result of the accumulation, but also was thanks to the strong winds that blew it like a dune against her home. While others reported having to plow their driveways as much as 6 to 7 times during the ordeal. Driving was understandably very dangerous on many roads because of the very high winds. There was a multi-vehicle accident that closed the westbound lanes of Highway 401 east of the City of London. There, 7 tractor-trailers and up to 4 other vehicles were involved in the crash, police said. Thankfully, there were no life-threatening injuries. At the time, newly elected London Mayor Joe Fontana said that the over 100 centimeters of snow that fell in just over 2 days was, quote, probably about half of what we'd get all winter, end quote. David Phillips is a senior climatologist at Environment Canada. At that time, he stated that there had never been a month in history when the township of Lucan had received more snow than it did in this small window of time that we witnessed here. This also resulted in a much-deserved snow day for many. All schools in Middlesex and Elgin counties, including London, were closed for December 6th and 7th, while city officials declared that there would be a suspension of all public transit service until such time as the driving conditions were safe again for all. Things finally cleared up on December 9th. That was 3 days after this day in weather history. Tomorrow is December 7th, and we're talking London again. I know, crazy, right? December 4th was London, England. Today was London, Ontario. And tomorrow it's back to London, England. And this time for a tornado. On this day in weather history with me, your host, Chris May. Right through December 22nd, we are sponsored by Tourism Ireland. Be with us on December the 21st as I have a truly special podcast experience as we together experience the winter solstice from Newgrange.